What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here, back here with a brand new video for you today. We are going to be looking at last season and the start of this season, and we're going to be giving you our six differences from the two seasons. Let's get straight into it, and let's start off with the first difference. The first difference is the timings of when we're scoring our goals and when we're conceding as well.
So it's quite interesting, the data that I know it's a very short sample size and we're only 8 games into this season. Obviously we're comparing it to the whole of last season on average, but if you look at in terms of early starts, we talked about early starts a lot this season, that a lot of the time we've come flying out the traps and we've scored a lot of early goals with quick starts. And we've already scored 6 goals in the opening 15 minutes in the first 8 games this season, which compared to last season, we scored 9 goals over the whole season in the first 15 minutes. So it already shows a difference in how early we're starting, because last season we didn't really seem to get out of the blocks a lot. And also, interestingly, last season we only conceded 7 goals in the last 15 minutes of games, yet this season, after 8 games already, we've conceded 5.
Oh, that is really interesting.
So
would you put that down to?
I don't know. Well, obviously we conceded 3 against West Ham in one game, and then 1 against Southampton, late penalty as well. That's already 4. And then the 5th one, I'm not sure when the 5th one was in the last 15 minutes. Newcastle, yeah. So those are 5. So maybe that's something that is just right now a bit of a statistical anomaly, and later in the season it's going to even itself out, because these late goals we've conceded have kind of all been a bit freakish.
Yeah, it seems that way. Newcastle was a dodgy VAR. West Ham, that should never be happening in a million years, and that's not going to happen again this season.
Southampton, that was also dodgy VAR.
Yeah, and Southampton was also a dodgy VAR. So yeah, you could be right there.
But however, the goals in terms of scoring early, that doesn't seem to be an anomaly, because it seems to be a concerted effort. Yeah,
exactly.
So those are the differences at the moment we're seeing in terms of how we're scoring goals early.
All right, and the second difference from last season to this season is the roles that are 2-star men, that the 2-star men in Europe at the moment, Harry Kane and Heung-min Son, the 2 different roles that they're involved in this season.
Exactly. Obviously, everyone's been talking up about Kane's chance creation and Kane looking like a different player. But it's not just his chance creation that is going up, but it's also his striking instincts. Because last season, Harry Kane was having 2.84 shots a game. This season, 4.77.
That's nuts, isn't it?
So he's nearly doubled that, pretty much. Well, not nearly, but fairly close to doubling. At least 2 more shots per game he's having this season. But very interestingly, when it comes to Son, last season he was having 2.9 shots a game. This season 2.47, so he's actually having less shots,
but he's becoming more clinical.
Whereas Kane, maybe not as clinical, but he's having more shots and more efforts. But what the stark difference is this season is key passes, and key passes is a pass that leads to a shot. That's the definition of a key pass. Last season Kane 0.94, this season 2.26.
Wow.
Last season for Son 1.47, this season 2.33. So they're upping their creation, they're making more chances for each other as well, and the stats bear out that they're creating more passes and more shooting opportunities for the team, for sure. And especially in Kane's situation, his shot output is a lot higher than last season, even though last season he was mostly just a striker.
Does Jose Mourinho deserve all the credit for these kind of numbers?
I don't know about all the credit, but a lot of the credit. A lot of the credit for adapting Kane's game, 100%. 100%. He's clearly made a concerted effort to get Kane in different kind of spaces, and to ask different kind of questions of the defence. And it's also interesting that he's having shots from different kind of locations. He's not, even though he's dropping deep, he's still getting into the box. He's still getting those those opportunistic goals and those striker shots on goal as well. So even though he's dropping deep, it's not curbing his game in terms of a striking point of view. But it also points to the fact that maybe Son is in great form at the moment and he's becoming very clinical, but will that even itself out over the season? I guess we'll have to see, because the fact that he's having less shots but he's scoring more goals is quite interesting. Usually that's going to even itself out, but maybe he'll carry on.
Well, we said it in a video the other day that Son seems to be scoring with like every single one of his shots at the moment.
He's got ridiculous chance conversion rate at the moment, really ridiculous. So whether he can keep that up for the whole season remains to be seen.
And back on Kane, it reminds me of the Amazon documentary when Kane and Mourinho had their first meeting, and Mourinho goes to him, "Right now you're here, but I know you can go." and that's exactly what he's doing right now.
Yeah, 100%. He's completely exploding into the player that we know he could be, and it's really exciting to see.
All right, and now let's move on to number 3. And the third difference from last season to this season is the positions and where we're taking our shots this season.
Yeah, so last season we weren't finding as many shots. First of all, we weren't taking as many shots in total. We're taking a lot more shots this season than we are last season per 90 minutes. But in terms of where we're taking the shots, first we'll just look at outside the box. So last season we were having 4.6 shots from outside the box per game. This season it's 4.2, so we're taking less. But when you look at shots inside the box and inside the 6-yard box, the numbers, you can see a big difference. Last season we were taking 6 shots inside the box. This season 7.3.
Wow.
And last season inside the 6-yard box it was 0.84, so less than a shot inside the 6-yard box per game. This season 2.25, so we're finding a lot more chances inside the 6-yard box, which is where goals are going to be scored and where you're more likely to score from, and we're creating a better quality of chances. We seem to be getting in the ball in the box a lot more than last season, and that bears out in the stats as well, because last season inside the 6-yard box we scored 13 goals throughout the whole of last season. Already this season we've scored 6. Wow. So that's half after 8 games we've scored inside the 6-yard box. So already the stats are showing we're getting better quality chances and we're getting in the box a lot more than we were last season.
And I actually put this down to there's actually a lot of things that this comes down to, but one of the major factors in this, I believe, is the rise of Tanguy Ndombele. I believe obviously everyone knows Tonguy's struggles he had last season, and this season I would put it down to Lo Celso as well, but that's just he hasn't played too much this season. But the Tanguy Ndombele, the way he's just so press resistant and the way he can glide past and win that midfield battle pretty much on his own sometimes, obviously with Højbjerg behind him, makes us so much more threatening on the attack.
And it opens up space a bit. And as well, the next point I'm going to go to will lead on to why maybe we're getting more chances inside the box. So the next point is the attacking fullbacks, right? And they're getting more crosses into the box than last season. They're creating more chances for the strikers, and especially the big jump is from the upgrade from Davis into Reguilón, and you can see this from the stats last season, or even this season. Let's start with last season. Last season, Davis was getting 0.44 key passes per game, and he was getting 0.56 shots a game. He was getting 0.44 shots a game and 0.56 key passes a game. This season, Reguilón is getting 1.5 shots and 1.7 key passes per game. It's completely a lot higher than last season, a lot higher. Last season, Ben Davis was getting 0.24 shots a game and 0.48 key passes, which is even let down on last season. So it shows that he didn't get. We all knew Davis doesn't get forward as well as Reguilón, but the stats are showing it as well. Mm-hmm. The stats are confirming all your eyes can see. And even this season, if you look at someone like Matt Doherty, his key passes are 0.86 per game, so that's higher than even he's the lowest, because Aurier does 1.09 key passes and 1.5 shots per game, but even the lowest, Doherty, which is 0.86, that's still higher than Ben Davis was last season. So it's showing that the fullbacks are definitely getting more involved. They're making more contributions going forward, and they're creating more opportunities and finding more passes out leading to shots and having shots themselves.
Wow, brilliant. Now let's move on to the 6th and the final difference from last season, and that is plain and simple that midfield general, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg.
Exactly. So we did a video of what Højbjerg could bring to the team. I remember before the season started, when we signed Højbjerg, we looked at the stats and we were comparing him to Winks and to Sissoko, who predominantly played the DM role last season, and we're comparing his stats in terms of tackles, in terms of interceptions, in terms of recoveries and all these things. And we would rather quickly translate that into the Tottenham team, and the stats completely bear out what we were showing. And we'll compare Højbjerg this season to both Sissoko and to Winks last season in terms of defensive stats and in terms of what he's brought to the midfield. So this season, Højbjerg is making 3 tackles a game compared to Sissoko and Winks Sissoko last season 1.4, Winks last season 1.6. He's already doubled that. Yeah. In terms of duels, competing for duels this season, Højbjerg is competing for 12 per game compared to Sissoko last season 9. Winks last season 7, so a lot higher as well. And Jules 1 as well. Højbjerg 6 this season compared to 4 for Sissoko and 3.5 for Winks, so a lot higher. Aerial duels as well. Højbjerg is making 3 per game, Sissoko 2, Winks 0.9.
Wow.
So he's already winning a lot more headers as well. And very interestingly, passes. He's getting on the ball a lot more. Højbjerg is averaging 81 passes a game compared to Sissoko 45 last season and Winks 61. So not only is he contributing a lot off the ball, more than Winks and Sissoko did, on the ball as well. He's controlling midfield a lot more. He's making more passes, and he's making more passes into the final third as well than Winks and Sissoko. So he's making a massive difference, and it really quantifies the difference in midfield he's making to the team.
I mean, I think everyone in the Tottenham fan base, their love for Pierre is just going up and up and up. I mean, some Spurs fans even laughed when we signed him, saying, why are we signing the Southampton midfielder, blah, blah, blah. But it's evident on the pitch, it's evidence to everyone what an influence this guy is having on our team at the moment. Apparently inside the dressing room as well, he's got a massive influence. Not only the influence he's having on the pitch, but he's a leader as well on and off the pitch. So I think everyone is more than happy and absolutely delighted with Pierre-Emile Højbjerg at the moment. But anyway, that is our 6 main differences from last season to this season. Let me know in the comment section below if you agree. If you have any more differences to tell us about, let me know in the comment section below. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.